Hello YouTubers and welcome to another episode of the vlogs. We've got a lovely morning this morning with my smoothie. A little bit windy, hopefully it stays absolutely beautiful here in Henley on Thames. But as always, when we turn up to the club, there is one thing we have to do, or maybe even a couple of things. Finish the smoothie, maybe a few things. Get changed, get stretching, get rolling out, and then get on the water. And over here we've got the Rossiter brothers as well, who are just back from Europeans. Yeah, buddy! Yeah. But now let's get into the club and get ready. Oh yeah! We're watching some of our favourite races from Henley. What, Ed, explain this race.
This is Bedford Rowing Club versus Curlew, which is a club on the Tideway, in the Y-Folds Coxless Fours. I think this is 2017. It is honestly one of the best races from Henley ever. Wow. It's tight the whole way down. The rowing is questionable. It's decent, like club level rowing, but it's just a really good race.
So after that session we're going to fuel up and watch some more of the races. Let us know in the comments below what your favourite race to watch at Henley Royal Regatta is. So let's get some food. Where's that? And we've made it into the crew room for breakfast. We've got our delicious breaded egg toast to fuel up after breakfast, after the session, because food is fuel. Made it into the crew room for lunch after a little bit of a roll out there. The weather's been pretty decent, a little bit windy but not too bad. So it's time to fuel up, because food is fuel, and then we'll discuss the difference between sort of erging, rowing, what you should do, what you shouldn't do in the season, out the season, etc. But first things first, we've got to get some food. And we have made it outside of the club for another day. And we've got George Halliwell. Oh yeah. So we're talking about erging and rowing, especially in sort of the later half of the season. We had a little bit of erging today, we had a little bit of rowing today. I really see the rowing machine as a tool for improving what you need to improve for the on the water performance. So whether that be fitness, whether that be, it can be technique, but there are some things that you can't work on the erg that you can only work on the water. So say you're in an 8, you can't really work on sort of the syncing up together, the flow together when you're on an erg that you can work on when you're on the water. So you can't get that feeling of just like gliding up the slide. You can't get that feeling of what's that guy doing in front of you, because almost the erg is just that little bit more numb to those sort of things. And as well as there's so many more external factors on the water that you have to get used to, like the water's moving underneath you, the boat is actually moving at a certain speed, so you have to be able to time properly the blade entry and exit. But there is definitely a place for the rowing machine itself. So if you're trying to work on your fitness, then the erg, I think, is probably one of the best things to do, as some of the guys shout. But the erg is one of the best things to do because it's just so consistent. You can have those numbers right in front of you and it doesn't really change. So it's quite difficult to work on, I would say, fitness on the water when, well, it depends on the stretch of water, I suppose, because for us we have the Henley stretch was about 3-4k, and so doing 3 or 4k turn, doing 3 or 4k turn, unless you do it in a certain way, then it just doesn't feel the same as on the erg, where it's just a consistent blast whatever amount of time you are doing. But when we're going into the season, really fitness isn't really a focus for me especially, because we've been training all winter, so that is where the fitness should really come into it. So that's why people put a bit more emphasis on erging during the winter, to build that fitness, that base to work off of when you come into the race season. So I definitely think there should be a change throughout the season of how many ergs you should be doing, more or less, and whether you should be doing more or less rowing through the season. But we are doing a sport that is rowing, not erging. So the fitness and the sharpening up that really has to happen when you come into the race season really only happens on the water. So you have to get used to the speed of the boat, you have to get used to the boat wobbling around, you have to get used to the people in your boat, the little things that they might do that you have to adjust for or not adjust for. And I think that will be it for sort of erging versus rowing. But the two themselves I really prefer, especially when you're in that cool, fun atmosphere in the 8. I really prefer that over the erg. But you can produce that atmosphere in the erg when you have sort of the whole squad doing whatever rate together and you're all hollering at each other. But we are heading into the race season as always, or not as always, but we are heading into the latter half of the race season, like I said. But as I've said already, we're heading into the latter half of the race season, so probably won't be too many ergs left, actually. I need to look at the programme extending forward, but we're keeping that little bit of sort of maintenance with the ergs, and then a little bit of sharpening, or a lot of sharpening on the water. But that will be it for today's video, Yam Squad. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. So erging versus rowing, and then versus the time of year, which you should do more. But like I said, we are in the sport of rowing, so rowing should come first. And remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button and have a good one.